Welcome to Ayur Times. Today we're looking at Ritucharya, the Ayurvedic answer to lifestyle disorders. We're going to explore this really ancient Ayurvedic science of seasonal living and how it offers some, well, profound solutions for our well-being today. It's essentially about adapting our lives harmoniously to nature's rhythms, understanding that aligning our diet, our daily routines with these seasonal shifts can fundamentally, prevent disease and promote optimal health.
Exactly. And what's really key about Ritucharya is that it's more than just a list of do's and don'ts. It's actually a cornerstone of Ayurveda's whole preventive health philosophy. The name itself, Ritu, that's season, and Charya, which means regimen. It forms this comprehensive blueprint. Ayurveda's primary goal, you see, is swasthya rakshana, basically protecting the health of the healthy. It's not just about treating illness after it appears, which is atarasha, vikara, prashmancha. It recognizes that we, as humans, are deeply connected to our environment through those fluctuations. So by following these seasonal regimens, we're consciously synchronizing our internal biological rhythms with what's happening outside. And that prevents these subtle imbalances in our core energies, the doshas, that can make us susceptible to disease.
And preventing disease. Gosh, that feels more relevant than ever when you look at the modern situation. We're really in the thick of a major health crisis driven by lifestyle disorders. It's quite alarming, isn't it, seeing these conditions hit younger and younger people? I mean, we used to think of these as risks for people over 40, maybe. But now you hear about folks in their 30s, even younger, dealing with hypertension, obesity, heart disease. You look at places like India, for instance, often called the diabetes capital, and really heading towards being the lifestyle disease capital, too. Studies keep showing these really worrying rates, especially in young urban populations.
And that crisis, it just highlights the disconnect, doesn't it, between our
Evolution.
modern, often hectic lives and nature's own rhythms. It's precisely that gap that makes this ancient wisdom of Ritucharya so incredibly relevant now. It's like finding our way back to those fundamental cycles.
Okay, so to really get Ritucharya, we need to understand its foundation, this idea of the two ayanas. They basically split the year in half. First up is Uttarayana. It's also called Adana Kala. This runs from about mid-January to mid-July, and it marks the sun moving northwards. During this time, the sun and the wind, they get really powerful. Nature tends towards bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes. You'll probably feel more dryness, maybe in your skin internally too. And our overall physical strength, our bala, it naturally decreases. This half covers Shishira late winter, Vasanta spring, and Grishma summer.
Right. And then the year shifts into Dakshinayana, or the Sarkakala.
Yeah.
This is the sun's journey south from mid-July to mid-January. And interestingly, during this phase, the moon's influence is actually considered stronger than the sun's. The earth starts to cool down, you get clouds, rain, cold winds, and the predominant tastes in nature shift towards sour, salty, and sweet. Crucially, our inherent body strength actually enhances during this period. This includes Varsha the monsoon, Sharada autumn, and Hemanta, which is late autumn or early winter.
So, with those two halves, you can see a pattern in our body's natural strength levels through the year. Our strength hits its minimum point during Grishma, summer, which is the end of that sunny Uttarayana period, and also right at the start of Dakshinayana, during Varsha, the monsoon. Lots of change happening then.
A vulnerable time.
Then we experience moderate strength during Sharada, autumn, sort of mid-Dakshinayana, and also in Vasanta, spring, which is mid-Uttarayana.
A balancing point.
Exactly. And finally, our strength reaches its maximum during Hemanta, early winter, that's the end of Dakshinayana, and also in Shishira, late winter, the very beginning of Uttarayana.
Okay, so why does tracking this matter? Why focus on these natural ups and downs in strength?
Well, it's fundamental because understanding this allows us to be smarter about designing our seasonal routines. We learn how to sort of compensate during those times when our natural energy is lower. We adjust to preserve strength. And conversely, we learn how to really capitalize on those periods when our body's vitality is naturally at its peak. Maybe we can handle richer foods then or more activity. It's about working with the body's energy, not against it.
Okay, let's break that down. How does this actually look in practice, season by season? Let's start with Shishir Ritu, late winter, mid-January to mid-March, roughly. Think cold, dry, a heavy feeling in the atmosphere, maybe chilling winds, low humidity. But here's the interesting part. Our body strength is at its max, and our Agni, our digestive fire, is really strong. Why? Because the cold outside makes our internal heat conserve, become more concentrated. Yeah, exactly. And with that strong digestion and peak strength, Ayurveda basically says, nourish yourself. This is the time. We lean towards tastes that are warming and grounding,
Yeah.
like sour, salty, pungent. So your diet could feature, heartier grains like wheat, new rice, maybe some corn, comforting sour foods. Spices like ginger and garlic are great. Haritaki, papali too. Sugarcane products, milk, dairy, they all offer good warmth and substance, lifestyle-wise. Regular oil massage, Upyunga, is fantastic. Lukewarm baths, not too hot. Get some sun exposure when you can. And obviously, wear warm clothes, protect yourself from that biting wind. Avoid getting excessively cold.
Right. Then winter starts to fade and we move into Vasanta, spring, mid-March to mid-May. Everything's blooming, it feels warmer, moister, but there's also this sticky heaviness sometimes. That's kapha. The moisture accumulated in winter starts to liquefy, starts to melt. And this can make us feel a bit sluggish. Our body strength dials back to moderate, and Agni, the digestive fire, can feel a bit mild, maybe even weak. And to counter that kapha heaviness, the go-to tastes are bitter, pungent, and astringent. Think light, dry, stimulating. So diet-wise, things like barley are excellent, honey in moderation, lots of leafy greens, bitter vegetables. It's generally advised to cut back on dairy, heavy fried foods, anything too sweet or oily that could increase that kapha quality. For lifestyle, daily exercise becomes really important to shake off that sluggishness, boost metabolism. There's a traditional practice called udvartana, a dry powder massage, which is brilliant for excess kapha, helps circulation. Sometimes gentle cleansing like vamana is recommended under guidance. Basically, stay active. Try not to sleep during the day, as that increases kapha too. Okay, then comes Grishma, summer, mid-May to mid-July. Hot, dry, intense sun, long days, low humidity. Classic summer. Now, our body strength hits its lowest point here, and Agni is also weak. Why? Because the intense external heat actually disperses our internal digestive fire. It kind of scatters it. So fatigue, dehydration, they're common challenges.
Absolutely. So managing that heat and conserving energy is key. The recommended tastes are naturally cooling sweet, but also bitter and astringent help too. Diet should focus on cool, liquidy, sweet, hydrating foods. Think milk, rice cooked with extra water, ghee, cooling veggies like cucumber. It's generally best to avoid or reduce salty, sour, and very spicy foods which can increase heat. Instead, you can sip on cooling herbal teas, rose, coriander seed, fennels are lovely. Lifestyle. It's pretty intuitive. Stay indoors during the peak sun hours. Wear light, airy, natural fabrics. A midday rest or siesta is actually encouraged in Ayurveda during summer. Reduce heavy exertion. Applying cooling things like sandalwood paste or rose water feels wonderful.
Then the weather breaks and we get Varsha, the monsoon season, mid-July to mid-September. This brings heavy rain, high humidity, cloudy skies, often cool winds, a big shift. Now, this dampness and irregularity really aggravate Vata dosha. Digestion can get tricky, body strength is still low, and Agni is met and often quite erratic, unpredictable.
Right, it's a challenging time for digestion. So to ground that airy, unpredictable vata, the recommended tastes are sour, salty, and pungent. Your diet should lean towards warm, light, but maybe slightly oily foods. Think nourishing soups, easily digestible lentils like mung dal, rice. Use digestive spices generously. Ginger, cumin, ajwain are your friends here. Really important. Avoid raw foods, salads, cold things, and heavy meals that are hard to digest. Lifestyle focus is on staying dry and warm. Avoid getting drenched or exposed to cold drafts. Oil massage is still good. Light physical activity is better than none. Always use boiled or filtered water. Keep your surroundings dry if possible. And vata-pacifying herbs like ashwagandha or dashamula might be helpful.
Okay, after the rains, we move into Shurat, autumn, mid-September to mid-November. Skies clear up, there's moderate heat, but often sharp sunlight. Still some residual moisture from the monsoon. This particular combination, the heat after the rains, tends to aggravate pitta dosha. Our internal fire can flare up. Think potential irritability, skin issues, acidity. Body strength is moderate now, and Agni is moderate too, but it can become quite sharp, quite intense because of that pitta.
Exactly. Pitta is the star of this season. So the goal is to cool and calm it down. Recommended tastes are sweet, bitter, and astringent. All have cooling properties. Diet should feature cooling foods like amla, Indian gooseberry. Ghee is excellent for pitta. Fruits like pomegranate. Best to avoid or minimize spicy, oily, sour, and fermented foods, which aggravate pitta. Cooling herbal decoctions can be helpful, things like guduchi, musta, or shatavari. Lifestyle. Avoid harsh sun exposure, especially midday. Enjoy calming evening walks, maybe even under the moonlight, which is considered very cooling. Wear white or cool-colored natural fabrics. And traditionally, this is the season where virachana, therapeutic purgation, is often recommended under expert guidance to cleanse excess pitta.
And finally, the cycle brings us to Himanta, early winter, mid-November to mid-January. characterized by that cold, heavy atmosphere, calm winds usually, clear skies, feels substantial. Now, this is another power season for the body. Vata is calmed by the stability, Pitta is balanced. Kapha starts to gently accumulate again, body strength is back to its maximum, and Agni is very strong. The body wants fuel.
Yes. Maximum strength, maximum digestion. So this is the time to really build and fortify yourself for the year ahead. The recommended tastes reflect this. Sweet, sour, and salty are favored. Diet should be rich, maybe a bit oily, deeply nourishing. Think hearty meat soups if you eat meat. Warming dals like urad dal, sesame seeds, or oil, jaggery. Definitely favor those sweet, sour, salty tastes. This is generally not the time for fasting or eating very cold, light foods. Your body needs substance. Lifestyle practices again feature regular oil massage, abhyanga, and getting some sun exposure. Moderate exercise is good. Wear warm clothing, stay protected. And maybe stay indoors during the very coldest parts of the day, early morning, late evening.
It's just amazing how specific and, well, logical these recommendations are when you see the whole cycle. But let's go a bit deeper into these transitions between seasons. They seem crucial, like that shift from winter to spring you mentioned. The warming temps liquefy the kapha that built up. If you don't manage that, you get the classic spring issues, right? Congestion, allergies, respiratory stuff, hence the spring cleanse idea.
Absolutely. Managing those transition points, those sandikalas, with the right diet and maybe some detox practices is so important. Think about spring into summer, too. The heat ramps up, depletes moisture, increases pitta. If you don't shift towards cooling foods and habits, you risk overheating, inflammation, digestive upset. Or summer into monsoon, that sudden jump in humidity, the temperature swings, it really tests your digestion and immune system, demands careful adjustments.
Yeah, and then monsoon into autumn, that lingering pitta from the heat and humidity can cause skin problems, acidity, maybe feeling easily irritated, unless you bring in those cooling, bitter, astringent foods we talked about. And then autumn into winter, the cold ramps up appetite and metabolism, which is good, but it can also aggravate vata if you're not careful. So
Yeah.
you need those grounding, warming foods and routines to stay balanced through the cold. It's this continuous, intelligent dance of adaptation.
And a huge tool Ayurveda uses in this dance is the concept of the six tastes, the shadrasa. You have mathura, sweet, amla, sour, lavana, salty, ketu, pungent, kikta, bitter, and kashaya, astringent. Each one has a unique elemental makeup and specific effects on the doshas. Sweet, for instance, is earth and water, builds tissues, calms vata and pitta. Sour stimulates digestion, salty helps with electrolytes. Pungent is fiery, clears channels. Bitter is cooling, detoxifying. Astringent is drying, toning.
So knowing which tastes naturally become more dominant in the environment each season, that helps us choose foods with the opposite qualities to maintain balance, right? It's all about supporting digestion and keeping the doshas in equilibrium throughout the year. And what's really validating, I think, is seeing how modern science is starting to catch up, or at least align with this ancient thinking. Chronobiology, for example. It confirms we have these built-in circadian, lunar, and definitely seasonal rhythms affecting our physiology. Studies show our hormone levels, immune function, metabolism, they all fluctuate seasonally. That directly supports Ayurveda's whole emphasis on adapting season by season.
That's exactly right. It really underscores the sophistication here. Take gut microbiome research. It's relatively new, but it's already showing our gut bacteria composition actually changes with the seasons. And these changes seem linked to the types of foods naturally available. It strongly suggests that following Ritucharya seasonal diets might actually optimize our gut health by supporting these natural shifts. Plus, other research confirms our metabolic rate, how we generate heat, our thermogenesis adapts to temperature changes across the year. Ritucharya practices clearly help fine-tune these adaptations. So yeah, the growing field of environmental physiology is increasingly backing this fundamental idea. Our health thrives when our lifestyle aligns with nature's seasonal rhythms. These aren't just old traditions, they seem deeply rooted in our biology.
Okay, so the wisdom is there, the science is starting to point in the same direction. But how do we actually do this in our busy modern lives? It seems like seasonal transition planning is a good starting point. The idea is not to wait until the season fully changes, but to begin preparations maybe 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. Gently, gradually adjust your diet, maybe your sleep schedule, your exercise type or intensity. No sudden shocks to the system.
Yes, gradual transition is key. And we can layer on some deeper steps too. First, if possible, assessing your unique constitution, your prakriti, is incredibly helpful. Consulting an Ayurvedic practitioner can give you personalized insights, tailoring the general seasonal advice to your specific dosha balance. Second, pay attention to your local seasonal patterns. The traditional texts describe seasons based on ancient India, right? So you need to adapt. Observe your local climate, weather shifts, what produce is truly local and seasonal where you live. Focus on the principles, the qualities of the season more than rigid dates.
That makes sense. Adapt it locally. Another practical thing is maybe simplifying the kitchen setup. Stocking your pantry with foods and spices that fit the current season. Maybe learning a few simple cooking methods that enhance the qualities needed, like making soups in monsoon or lighter cooking in spring. And, we can use technology to help too. Nothing wrong with that. Use your calendar app for reminders. Okay, time to start shifting towards spring foods. Or maybe even create seasonal music playlists. Something energizing for kapha season, calming for pitta season.
I like that. And building on that, create consistent seasonal routines. Develop daily habits your Dinacharya, but layer in those seasonal tweaks. Adjust your wake-up time slightly, your meal timings, exercise intensity, self-care practices, all based on the season's needs. Consistency is powerful. And finally, perhaps most importantly, monitor your own health metrics. Pay attention. How's your digestion, your energy levels, sleep quality, emotional state? Tracking these, especially during transitions, helps you see what's working for you and allows you to refine your approach. That self-awareness is really the ultimate guide.
That's a great point. It brings it back to personal experience. So, as you reflect on all this wisdom from Ritucharya, here's something to consider. What's one small, intentional step you could take starting today or tomorrow to align your own daily well being just a little more closely with the rhythm of the current season? To learn more and stay connected with ancient wisdom for modern living, do subscribe to the Ayur Times channel. And if you have any questions or your own thoughts and experiences with seasonal living, we genuinely love to hear them. Please feel free to comment below.